Last Pint Productions presents the New Way podcast. The year is 2018. The world has been without a New Way transmission since late 2017. Times are bleak. People have lost hope. The fourth place choice to listen to during their Monday commute has vanished without a trace. They're forced to listen to terrestrial radio, Howard Stern, and NPR. Their lives are devoid of three nerds bickering endlessly about shit no one cares about but them. A great light has gone out in the galaxy. But what's this? Rising from the ashes once again like the mighty phoenix, or perhaps a snowy egret that has inexplicably caught fire near briny breezes, comes the New Way, mightier, dirtier, and less relevant than ever. But it's 1 hour of your week you don't have to worry about being sexually harassed, nuked by North Korea, or generally hating the world as we know it. The New Way is back, and listener discretion, as always, is advised.
Come on, get to the chopper! I'm in the end zone! No! The fucking blue wanker again! Have a look at that, there's Donnie Darko celebrating.
New York, Queens. It's a rough borough, but hey, it's home.
Who are you talking to?
No one?
What the hell?
No!
Everybody wants to be naked and famous. Everybody wants to be just like me. I'm naked.
Will you help teach me about this? What is it? A new way?
Hello. Welcome back to our wonderful listeners in the year 2018, the year of our Lord.
Mazel tov. You've made it, everyone.
We made
here.
it through 2017, and we're now here on the other side, and we're live. Not live, but we're on air again after a long absence. That we're going to get into exactly what happened with that and why you haven't heard us in a month.
Well, my email's been inundated with fan mail saying, where have you guys been? What do I do now? What do I do with my life?
I know you've all been lost without us, and it was touch and go for you for a while, but we're back.
That's how you know you're rusty. You said lost, and there was no sound effect that followed it.
Yeah, you're right. I should have
You're
been
losing it, buddy.
I should have been right
You're
on that one. But yeah, we are back after a prolonged and not on purpose hiatus due to, frankly, Matt overextending himself and attempting to just try to make Ben Wilson's birthday a little more special than it might have been otherwise.
Or you could just
It was
blame,
still special.
You
It was still wonderful.
You can blame it on the bad juju of 2017, the topic of today's cast.
I kind of, yeah,
There was just a bad evil force behind it from the very beginning of the day.
So what happened was, by the way, welcome back, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Wonderful
again.
to be here. And by the way, let me preface Matt's story because he's about to tell this story.
It's all of our story, Ben.
Well, yes, it's everybody's story. But I was still, frankly, just very flattered by the fact that you guys even thought about doing anything, and because I was just happy hanging out and watching football, as you know. So, anyways, I appreciate the effort more than you know. Then you can tell the story.
Ben's real present was watching the Baltimore Ravens barely beat the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, listen, a win's a win, man.
That was at least the one good thing that happened that day. But we'd been like teasing it a little bit on air as well, that we were going to have kind of a special moment or special cast over December. And what I decided is Ben's birthday is mid-December, and we used to write at O'Connor's Pub in Delray Beach, and we even recorded a pubcast
Star Wars
there.
erotic fan fiction.
Yeah, it was mostly Star Wars erotic fan fiction, then a little Harry Potter, and
a little bit.
And Ben doesn't want you to know this. Some Lost fan fiction. He's really into the Lost fan fiction. He wrote a scene with Hurley and Sawyer that. Whew.
See, I wonder if that would have worked. You remember
Steamy.
the old the play I used to tell you, where I would just read a book in the corner and random women would walk up and ask what I was reading. I wonder if I said Star Wars fan fiction, if anything would have been different.
No. I think Ben Affleck Wilson transcends even Star Wars fan fiction.
I don't think it was Ben. I think it was just that place. I think it was O'Connor's had some sort of.
What
magical...
if it was Firefly fan fiction? Would that repel the women?
They wouldn't even know.
They you won't even know.
That would be like, oh, Firefly. That sounds dangerous.
Well, the truth is, you don't know, and
and no one knows really as well. So that was one of you have no idea.
one knows.
So I come up with this idea that we're gonna take the podcast live to O'Connor's, and we're gonna record there. And I set this up meticulously. I get extra arms for the mics. I get extra cords so I don't have to disturb anything here, so that it'll be easy to get in and out. I do a test run here. Everything great.
He set up the merch table.
I get O'Connor's
table.
to agree to open up early for us, and we're all set. 11 a.m. Sunday morning to go and record this thing. So I show up, and the first thing that happens is no one shows up at O'Connor's to let us in early as they had discussed with me, which was really disappointing. And
there were those 2 angry Dolphin fans who wanted to get started
and it set
early.
the mood of because I was like, I think we should just I don't know. I think we just give up. We're like, no, come on, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Nick and I are trying to get this together. So I make Beth drive Ben all the way out to Delray for this. We drive all the way back here. We go to Brass Tap, which props to Brass Tap. It's like, yeah, absolutely. Come in here, set up. You're good to go. So we start frantically setting up, and some sort of poltergeist infects the system, and
it was a visible poltergeist, though.
There
were sparks were flying.
There was a literal spark that flied,
a plume of smoke, if you will,
and destroyed my laptop. Basically, fried the motherboard on my laptop at the place. So we've spent 30 minutes setting up to where people are like, are you guys part of a radio station? What are you what radio station
people
are you
are starting, because at this point it's afternoon, and so the bar is officially open, so people are filing into the bar just to watch pro football.
Yeah, and we look like we have a legit setup.
Yeah, to Matt's credit, it looked almost as impressive as it looks in the home studio.
So I'm like, oh great, so my laptop is dead, is number one, which means I can't edit I can't work, but also can't edit the episode. So there's a lost episode, by the way, from last season that Ben and I recorded on holiday things. You were out of town, but Nick was out of town, and we recorded a December podcast. I'll play that. We'll do it in July. I'm just going to air that randomly in July, and you can all pretend that it happened in December. But it was just one of those, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And it's because, you know why it went wrong, Nick?
Was it about Kevin Smith?
No, I think just hold on to that one. It's because if Ben Effortless Wilson had been doing it, it would have just effortlessly happened, and there would have been no shocker creature in the system, no poltergeist in the works. So maybe
Trump and the NSA.
So basically, you're blaming me for my birthday.
Well, I'm blaming you for stepping on my joke just now.
I blame your parents for your birthday, but I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What was your joke?
I was merely suggesting, Ben, that the NSA and Trump saw all the photoshopped Ivanka porn that Matt had been downloading and remotely detonated it. It's possible.
I mean, the first part's definitely possible, but I
was
don't know
a lot.
About the second part. But
3 gigs.
So that was what I was up to in December.
Downloading Ivanka Trump porn.
I haven't seen you guys. So Nick went back to Baltimore for Christmas. How was any exciting times in Baltimore?
I sure did. Well, the family has a new puppy.
Oh,
Kiki Khaleesi of House Targaryen, and our old dog Dobie McDougal.
House Crocharian.
No, see, we don't use our surname. We give our Yorkies their own surname. So nice. Khaleesi is the last name of Kiki, the new one. Now Dobie McDougal, my mom didn't train at all. So she would have a thing where we'd have these 2 twin beds next to each other, and Dobie would jump from one bed to the other, and that was a trick. But she wouldn't say, okay, go, or summon it. It would just happen, and then that was Dobie successfully completing a trick. Now, Kiki, however, can roll over on command. It has great restraint with the stay and the
Can she ward?
Well, not like Nymeria.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're working our way up. But, yeah, this year was great. We didn't have a Beer Olympics this year.
Oh, no Beer Olympics.
We didn't do Beer Olympics this year because Nana had a special eggnog recipe.
Oh.
And our uncle sent us a bunch of wine for dinner, so we didn't want to drink beer and then eggnog and then wine at dinner, otherwise it would have gotten real sloppy.
It would have been like New Year's Eve here. Or my brother coming over.
It would have been bad.
Seriously though, Ben Wilson's eggnog this year set a new bar.
High bar, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I told you that. I gave you the best batch.
It is easily your best. It was unbelievable. unbelievable.
You might as well be a resident between Rhode Island and New York because you, sir, are a nutmegger. That's a fun fact. Google it. They're called nutmeggers.
I don't want to know this fact.
I learned that on HQ today.
I don't want to know that. I don't
game.
like that I know this now.
Now you know.
Now you know.
You're one of those people that play HQ. Huh?
Well, and
Well, you know what,
One
Ronnie?
of
You try
those
it, and it's
people.
fun.
You people.
it was a.
That's my literal bright spot of 2017 is HQ.
Well, and so Ben Wilson also had an eventful time since we were last on, and as he ventured to watch a national championship football game. You want to tell us a little bit about your trip?
Well, see, so I
Too
mean,
soon.
I actually, I hung out. I had the invite. My father invited my wife and I out to the Rose Bowl because their whole family went, and I just said, you know what, it makes no sense for me to try and get my mom down here at last minute to look after the girls while you spend $5,000, because he was like, oh, I'll pay for everything except for the flights, like I'll pay for the tickets and blah 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 and the hotel and everything along those lines. I was just like, it doesn't make any sense for us to do that because it's just going to be stressful, and Beth's going to be worried about the girls, and it's kind of we're going to miss New Year's and all that sort of stuff. And so I just hedged my bets, and I said, if they go to the national championship game, no expense spared, I will go to the national championship game. So I'm not sure if my wife was actually cheering for Georgia to win or not. But so they won the Rose Bowl.
She was cheering for them to win
in a very
great
game.
game.
Well, both games were great, and so I ventured up to Atlanta for the national championship game. Had a great time. Had a great day. Saw my family and some of my family, my cousins and a couple of friends who I haven't seen in a long time, which was a great time. Georgia lost the game, which sucked, but it was fun. It was still, you know what? Actually, it was better. Here's the thing. I think I would have been more devastated if I was watching that on TV than actually being there. Because being there, I was just like, well, that sucks. But I had such a good day kind of leading up to it. We had done all the camaraderie, and we had gone to the Tabernacle and had this huge, like all dog thing. And then I also...
A what?
An all dog thing.
Like an all dog...
Oh, like Georgia...
And then they all went to heaven.
Right.
Yeah, we did an all dog thing. You know what it's like.
But it was so like, of course, everybody was
Hashtag all dog thing.
all the Georgia fans, including myself, were despondent going back from the game. But it was such a fun game. It was a good game. Even though
it was a well played game on your part. The refs
sucked some balls. But
you can ask Nick. I was very uncharacteristically angry watching
very
that game.
animated. We were both very animated for you, buddy. We decided,
Nick
you said, and I believe you
Oogied.
guys, and I appreciate you guys.
we decided that we were going to watch the game together.
And you got 2 Ookies in one game.
Well, as you know, the arbitrary rules of the Ookie, you can only use it twice, including overtime a game.
And Nick held back a couple of times and said, "No, not
nice.
yet, not
and the
yet."
2 missed
Don't use the Ookie.
Alabama field goals were fell victim to
Oh,
our
yeah.
Ookies.
That last one, I believed in the power because it was such a there's no way he's going to miss this. Like, why would he miss
And he
this? It makes
shanked
no
it.
sense. And they, excuse me.
Well, to our listeners at home, another Uncle Tim story. The Ookie is when the opposing team is taking a field goal and you want to jinx them into missing it, so you wiggle your right earlobe and go Ookie,
With your
Ookie,
fingers,
Ookie, Ookie.
not by the power of just your.
Hey, if you could do it, great. But you wiggle your earlobe and you go Ookie, 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 jinx, jinx, jinx. And what I didn't know as a kid is my uncle would pick, the 45-yard and over at a critical pressure-filled point in the game. So statistically, they would miss it, and I would think that he was, magic.
Yeah,
Well,
good. It's good.
I will say one of the funniest parts of the, and this is a very, very brief story about the game, is so I bought my ticket immediately after Georgia won the Rose Bowl off of StubHub, spent way too much money on it, of course.
StubHub.
So I get up
This
to my
episode
seat
brought to you by
after
StubHub.
waiting for over 2 hours in the rain in 36 degree weather. I finally get into the stadium and I get up to my seat, and it's these 4 sorority girls sitting there, and they look over me and they go, "You're not Phyllis."
You're Ben Effortless Wilson.
You're the fucking guy in Love Actually that goes to the bar in Wisconsin,
Well,
and it's like
At one
He
point,
feels it in his fingers.
I sort of did feel like actually at that one point where I was just like, I'm not saying they were current sorority girls. These are sorority girls who graduated in 2005, so the same year as us.
so they're
actually.
way washed up.
So there are
They're finally ripe.
They're all married. They're all happily married. They're very nice people.
Yeah.
Married to the sport of football.
But
Nice and married.
It was kind of funny, just based off the people I've sat with at Georgia games randomly before. I did kind of feel like what's his face in Family Guy, where I was like, "Dear diary, jackpot, giggity giggity." But anyway, so I sat down.
The guy in Family Guy.
And you know who I'm talking about.
The Family Guy.
The guy behind the guy. But so I sit down and I.
It's the British baby, right?
First they're like, "You're not Phyllis. Phyllis lives in Valdosta." I was like, "Well, I bought this."
Phyllis Diller's dead.
I bought
You
this
don't
ticket
have
from somebody in
syphilis.
Valdosta. So basically, I think they were expecting somebody to come who didn't come, who sold me their ticket for probably a lot more money than they
Did
paid
anybody
for.
come?
Well,
Guys, come on.
they don't call her Phyllis the Flake
So,
for
anyways,
nothing.
Guys, come on.
They're very nice. So I say hi to all of them, and they're all big Georgia fans, and but they're actually all from Texas. Which I thought was very strange. That is kind of a very weird thing, having a bunch of girls
UT Tex.
who all are from Texas. Like all of them, except for one, lived in Texas, but they all went to UGA. But so we're having a good time, and I talk with them occasionally or whatever. But I'm mostly just watching the game. So at half, I go down and meet my cousin, come back up or whatever. They're like having a good time. They're drinking beers or whatever. So we get to the fourth quarter, and it's right before the fourth quarter ends, like as all of the shit's going down, like the game is coming down to a head right here. And Catherine, the girl who's sitting next to me, who's been obviously she's sitting next to me, so she's the chattiest, just is sitting there, and I just start seeing her nod off, and she's nodding off. And I'm just like, you okay? She's like, I'm fine. Yeah, woo, 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 woo. And then like immediately,
You've seen that before, haven't you, Ben?
immediately just collapses kind of like into her friend and then into me, and we're just like, and then everyone's just like, oh no,
Into my lap.
So we basically have to situate her so that she's like sleeping in the fetal position in her seat, and she misses overtime for this game, which probably might have been for the best at that point, I think.
I don't know, man.
But yeah, it was an experience. It was so much fun. I wouldn't have traded it for anything, even though we lost. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm never going to one of these again unless it's the Orange Bowl. And if Georgia plays in the Orange Bowl and they're in Miami and I don't have to pay for all the other shit, then I'll go to that.
I'm gonna only go if I get to sit next to 5 sorority girls who are literally falling all over me because they're from Texas or whatever it is as well. So I just want to put that out there. Because no one else has those experiences. But Nick, you ever that's a good question. Have you ever sat, Ben, next to a really attractive woman on an airplane? Have you ever been seatmates with a really attractive woman?
I have a really awkward story about being seatmates with a really attractive woman.
Have you ever, Nick?
It's terrible.
Have you too? God damn it! I'm the only one.
I parlayed.
What do you mean?
We went to the Beatles, the live Beatles show at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow! And did
Yeah, it was like straight out of a movie. She was super cute.
did she love you?
I got-
Yeah.
Wow. But
That was great.
I'm coming back from New York to LA, and it was the first and only time I've been bumped to first class. So I got bumped to first class, still to this day. The
Oh,
only
you
time
told
I
me
ever
this story
have.
before.
And
Yeah,
I was
remember
getting
this.
free drinks, and I hit it off with this girl. So that next was like straight out of a movie.
They must have thought you were Ben Wilson.
Well, exactly.
It was
thought that-
it was a meet cute.
Yeah. I
It was booked on Ben Wilson miles, wasn't it?
I feel like I went to the 11th and a half floor of a building and went into Ben Wilson's mind.
Please don't. Why do you guys keep doing this? Hey, listen. Actually, you know what? You guys should be impressed with me because I have a badass wife. That's Ben Effortless Wilson right there. I married somebody way out of my league.
I think that actually, I'd argue that probably took the most effort is winning over Beth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was the first time you actually had to exude
Dude,
effort.
You gotta really convince
What are you
her.
talking about? Are you fucking kidding me? I was like a fish out of fucking water.
That's what we're
with my
saying.
wife.
You couldn't be effort. It was the one time in your life you couldn't effortlessly.
There was no
And
effort.
that's why it was true love.
Exactly.
I could not even put a sentence together.
So we're on the same page!
Oh my goodness, that was loud. Sorry. So it is 2018. This is our first podcast of the new year. Made it through 2017. We are on podcast episode 52. So I think we did 30 20 podcasts.
21
podcasts last year since Nick spurred us back on, and I thought it might be fun. We're going to kind of get into some superlative stuff for 2017 later on, but I kind of wanted to go through some highlights of the podcast that I put together. And by the way, no one knows that I just played the Ben Wilson. That was part of, I built an entire Ben Wilson soundboard for the episode we couldn't record at the pubcast.
That
it was
got
just
exploded.
all Ben Wilson hits, and that was my favorite one on there that I had to put on this one. Also,
It's Timmy's text tone now, too.
I think it should just be like, anytime someone asks a question and no one answers, it's just gonna... And it's gonna be no one knows. But so yeah, I kind of want to talk about a few things that we did, which is so we started off our podcast with the Guardians of the Galaxy guessing the tracks, which of course Ben Wilson effortlessly, out of all of us, picked the only one to pick a song actually on the Guardians 2 soundtrack.
Look me in the eye and tell me you didn't cheat.
I did not cheat.
Oh boy,
100%.
Okay.
but we had some really great episodes to follow out. One of probably.
Hey, you know, I told you, the ironic thing is I had another song selected, and then I was just like...
And then you peeked at the article
No,
with the track list and changed your
It was a
answer.
song from the Pootie Tang soundtrack.
I never looked at anything, and I just said, and I was like, there has to be a soft song. And I was just like, okay, what's a soft song? And I was literally Googling, like, I was like, who does a soft song? And I was just like, what's the soft song?
Tainted Love by
It was like,
Soft Cell.
he said something about fathers and
Soft
sons.
Serve.
I was like, what's the Cat Stevens songs about, like, fathers? And I just Googled it.
He's
and I
got
was just
too
like,
much of a
that's it.
story with this. He's lying.
Yeah.
He's got too much of a
I'm
story.
just telling you, man. I will look you directly in the eye and swear on my mother.
Oh.
I did not
Put
cheat.
your hand on my lap and look me in the eye and tell me you did
Your
not cheat.
hand on my lap.
I mean,
Okay, this is
look. Sorry.
happening. All right, this is going off the rails. Anyway,
Wait, what did I just say?
Put your hand on my lap.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah. But it wasn't. We had some episodes that I've heard from the two people that listen to our podcast and talked to us about. One was we each pitched musicals for a musical episode.
Gotta find my wife, Holly. Gotta make amends.
You were my father, but now are so much more to me.
'Cause I'm just a vampire.
Because I'm just a vampire is still my favorite. We did. We actually there were a lot of deaths in 2017. We put this one together for easily the biggest death of 2017. This one always makes me weepy.
God damn it.
In a couple of weeks, Harriet, Eddie, Laura, Grandma, Aunt Rachel, Little Richie, and the other little kid are gonna get teleported to another dimension. And then Steve injects Carl with his own DNA, so Carl turns into another Steve Urkel. That's two Steve Urkels and no family on a show called Family Matters. How the fuck does that work?
I won't play through the whole. My favorite is
Rest in peace.
I just watched both Nick and Ben as the song started playing, just like nodding along,
Wait,
like
what?
waiting to hear
Where's
what
this
the. And then I'm watching Nick the whole time, and all of a sudden, as soon as he hears
I'm like,
Carl Winslow, he's like,
wait. Why are you playing over the Tom Petty song?
That's what I thought. I was like, it was. I was like, is this a Petty song?
No.
We did not lose Reginald Vell Johnson, although Nick did try to famously kill him. We had guests in the studio with no Nick and Ben, and introduced them to
Wake me up.
one of Nick's favorite clips of all time.
Yeah.
We met Space Ghost.
Hi, kids. Space Ghost here, answering the phone for my pals at The New Way. They're off screening a new motion picture about somebody with some sort of a back sore that has teeth and can talk and send messages from the back to people and make them do stuff. It's like a hypnotic, some sort of a planter's wart. Leave your message at the tone, and when the boys are done reviewing, they'll call you back jiffy quick, as if a bunny scampering through a leafy glade. Thank you for calling The New Way. I can't stop it. The damn thing went dark. It won't stop. I can't stop it. Oh, my God.
We were joined in studio by Ben's lovely wife, Beth.
Tonight on the Channel 4 News, we're on Panda Watch as the San Diego Zoo's giant panda gets ready to give birth. Back to you, Matt.
What else we have? There was an episode none of you have ever heard before, and I listened to most of it today. But we're gonna play this episode at some point. Ben has never heard it. Nick's never heard clips from it. But Nick and I attempted to get drunk and record a Kevin Smith podcast, and here's just a sample of the greatness that's coming your way.
Oh no! He is now unzipping his pants, and he is furiously masturbating. And I don't know how this plays into the plot. I can only assume that that's how his body's defense is to calm himself down.
This is a terrible idea. This segment
he's now he's masturbating as he runs from the apartment with his schwanz in his hand.
Hold on a second. Hold on. The only part of that entire short film that could be relatable to our topic, Kevin Smith, is the opening dialogue which you spoke over. And then you quieted down for all the ad-libbed William Shatner lines.
Hold on a second.
That was us watching Nick's student film, or attempting to watch and listen to it on there.
My F2.
We had a famous Ben Wilson moment that we slowed down for posterity.
And
Scatman Jones?
Crothers.
Scatman Crothers. I was going to say.
Scatman Crothers. But my bad. I was thinking there's another Jones.
I'm thinking, the guy from The Shining? Or is there Scatman? Are there two Scatmans in the 70s?
And arguably,
that still might be my favorite part of the year.
Well, and so
Jones.
we recorded what was probably our sloppiest, Kevin Jones, whatever his name was. But we recorded what we all thought was going to be the biggest. It was a big shit show, but we thought it was going to be unlistenable. And turned out to be the one that everyone that has listened to us has texted me about. That was our Halloween podcast, where we learned that Nick really likes Nerd Rope.
It's Nerd Rope, motherfucker!
And Ben is really into treats.
Any more treats?
my cousin Haley, like 3 days ago, sends me a text, and she's like, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I didn't get to listen to all of the podcasts last year, but I'm catching up on them now, and I just listened to the Halloween one." She's like, "Jesus, how much did you guys drink? Is everyone alive?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "This is the funniest thing I've ever listened to."
Oh man!
But one of my favorite things that we had this year, we actually had reviews for the first time ever, and I want to play just two of these for you. One of them is Timmy describing what he feels is the selling point of the New Way podcast.
You know, it
Don't
sounds
look at it, eat
exactly
it.
like the rest of them, just a bunch of fucking assholes sitting around talking about movies that nobody
Okay,
knows.
that's enough. All right, and the podcast.
Hold on a second.
But my favorite, and this is going to lead into the podcast you guys will listen to next week, that we're going to be recording in a few days with Greg Klein, who summed up the New Way thusly.
Let me quote. I wrote this down after I listened to the first episode of the new way. the plus Nick New Way, which I was very skeptical about. I want to be honest.
Oh, introducing a third party, the cousin Oliver.
It was like my parents were getting divorced. I didn't like it. I was scared. It was weird. It was new. But
actually, it's more like your parents are introducing somebody else into the bedroom.
Yeah, it's like Big Love,
and they're like, so they're going to be living with us.
This is our new sister wife.
Yeah, it's really gross. I don't like thinking about that at all. But here's what I came up with, and this is honestly how I feel as a huge fan of the podcast.
This is an exclusive right here.
You ready for this? This is how I would describe the podcast, the new version of the podcast, to someone that asked me. This podcast is really well done. For no reason, sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
Well, I'm glad to be your sister wife, guys. I'm
the one brought
lucky.
in to bang it. But that was our year in review for the New Way. I think it was a lot of fun, and we're looking
Did we just
forward.
do a clip show?
We did a clip segment.
We did
We're going to
our
now
first-
get into our
Well,
real...
that's how you know you've made it when you go into sweeps and you got to do your clip show.
We have, and I think I got everything on there. We got the No One Knows. Played the Reginald Vell Johnson. Yeah, we did a good job. We'll
play the Lost sound effect just one more time for good measure.
Kevin Smith was moved to tears. I mean, it's amazing. but we wanted to also talk about for the podcast as we move into 2018 some of our other favorites of the year of 2017, because it was a weird fucking year. A very, very bizarre year filled with a lot of strange changes, good changes, bad changes.
Unmitigated dumpster fire. Go
There
ahead and
were
say it.
some dumpster fires, Trumpster fires, and whatnot out there. So I thought it would be kind of fun for us to talk about some of our favorites. And I didn't really put any rules on this. It's kind of just what were five things you really liked about 2017.
How about you guys convince me that 2017 wasn't the worst year in human existence?
This podcast. I just gave you like
That's
30
true.
reasons.
Well, that's one reason,
Well,
Matt. That's one reason.
I give you all those episodes. The musical episode alone was
it.
worth 2017.
That was it. That's my one reason.
You know what? My every time I've felt despair in the year, well, actually since even 2017, the one thing that brought me great joy in March, I believe it was March 2nd of 2017 is when it broke out and displayed itself and really made itself known to the world.
Herpes?
No, was the music and soundless IMAX trailer for The Mummy with Tom Cruise screaming into the abyss.
Of course. And by the way, so
that's how you know 2017 was a mound of shit when the first that you lead with the soundless Mummy trailer.
I'm being facetious.
Are you? Because
Yes,
that is my favorite.
No, well,
It is
and
pretty
by the way,
awesome.
that made it so we have a lot of drops that we put together on the soundboard for this
Good
year.
drops.
The good drops, but Mummy Yell is one of our perennial favorites, along with our Crack Kid, Long and Short, but we
Crack
did,
Kid, Long and Short.
But I
by
love
Jane
that we
Austen.
can now have like Ben asking about treats.
Any more treats?
And Tom Cruise being like, "Fuck! Why do you keep asking about treats?" So we're doing well.
It drives him crazy when you ask for treats.
I still think that's one of the funniest things. The first time I saw that, the only time I think I've laughed harder at like a viral video is the first time I saw Creed Shreds 3, which is old school. I mean, that's like 2008.
It's Atlanta Grape Lady old school.
And
I can't breathe.
but
get that drop.
I gotta get that drop.
You gotta get that drop.
I get that fit.
But no, for some reason, like, but it's one of those things that has given me, like, it's one of those things when I felt depressed at some point, I've just been like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that whole trailer just over again. Nothing makes me happier than that. And it's really,
well, at least we have that.
No, those are, you know what, though? I think that's a super important, because I played you one of mine. I played Nick and my brother one of mine. Have you seen the video of the two brothers playing ping pong?
Yes.
And it literally sums up siblings in a 9-second clip. And all it is the younger brother getting pissed at the older brother. He throws a ping pong paddle at it and nails the brother hard enough that the brother is actually hurt. Like, you can tell he's hurt. So now the kid is terrified because he actually made it through and hurt the brother. The brother goes, fuck. And then the kid lets out 2 screams
Primal
as he is running away from the brother who's now going to enact revenge. And like, I watched this with Nick and my brother probably 30 times. It was just kept replaying it over again.
It's so funny.
But that's a clip I go to when I'm like, I'm having a bad day. I go and watch shit like that.
Here's, and to kind of bring it around to actual, like, the stuff that the podcast is usually about, I realized when I was looking through this year's release schedule that I watched less movies this year than I ever have in my entire life, and that's of course
me too.
That's pretty Well, I mean, I have kids and stuff. Like, I know everybody else is super busy and stuff like that, but it's...
I got bitches in every state, so
it's
I
so
know how you
impossible.
feel.
It's so impossible for me to get to the theater, and even now. But I think the
normal theater.
What I also realize
you find time to get to the...
What's diametrically opposed to that is how good that television's got.
Oh, yeah.
And television's gotten really good. And so now my wife and I watch a lot more television than we do movies, which I never, ever... If you had told me that 20 years ago, I would have told you to fuck your face.
Jesus.
Oh,
and
thank God.
No,
You're an angry little...
Because I didn't...
You're an angry 15-year-old.
I didn't even have cable.
Suggested you should watch TV.
Fuck your face, old man.
It wasn't I just said watch TV.
I'm just saying, when I was 15 years old, I didn't have cable, I didn't have anything. I was a movie buff. I watched movies, I watched film. I went to the movies and watched film.
And anyone who didn't could fuck their faces.
They could get their face fucked.
Get their face fucked?
I'm so wishing I'd pulled the other clip I did of Timmy calling you pretentious.
I was though. Like back, but then again, you look at the barometer. Back then,
TV was very different back then.
In 1999, TV was a lot different. I mean, and we were right then getting to the point where I think shows were really. I mean, obviously, X-Files had been on. Some other shows I really like had been on.
Buffy,
like,
Twin Peaks.
Yeah, and Buffy I got into a lot later, but Buffy also was uneven. But but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We didn't have the shows that just would grab you by
what
the horns.
What was the show that
that
hit you the hardest this year? That you
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul is by far, I think, the best show on TV.
Not according to the Emmys or the Golden Globes, but
fuck them.
Yeah, poor Michael McKean never deserved an Emmy more than anyone else. I think in his entire life.
This past year, Better Call Saul, the first season of Crashing, I loved.
New season just started.
I know.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I watched it. It's great, of course, because I love that show. But Game of Thrones fucking killed it. I mean, like it was a great year for TV. I mean, Handmaid's Tale. I mean, god damn it.
Which I gotta watch.
Dude, Handmaid's Tale.
I just started.
And people say it's over... fuck you. It's not overrated. It's a really well-made show. I hate the premise. I really dislike the premise because I think it's so outside of the plausibility realm.
Just wait 5 years, buddy. 5 years.
In 5 years, you think everybody's going to be praising Jesus and starting like some sort of like puritanical society? Yeah, fuck no.
Well, we're headed that way.
I don't know what the show's about.
No,
so
we're
I
not.
Can't really
You don't know?
We're
headed in the exact opposite direction, brother.
I thought it was about
I think
a nun.
the whole point about the Handmaid's Tale is that it could happen, and
but
it's
by
just
the way,
a slightly exaggerated.
You realize
version of,
you realize that Handmaid's Tale was written during the Reagan administration. Right?
I understand.
Okay, so just,
you know when 1984 was written, Van?
1983?
No. Well before it.
That was a terrible joke.
Well before it, Matt.
I know it was a terrible joke.
I know. I'm joking too.
I think you need to chill.
Here's the thing. When you said the best of 2017 podcast, I kind of, in all honesty, my heart kind of sank because I love coming to this podcast with an angle and a list and feeling passionate about it. And 2017, like a lot of people, it was a really rough year for me in a lot of ways. And luckily I have you guys on the podcast, which is a real highlight.
Sure.
But I went through, a really bad breakup. I wake up every morning with a new disgrace, a daily disgrace with the administration, political
in the toilet
happenings. All right,
for those two.
I'm sorry, am I getting too real here?
No, I'm just messing with you.
All I'm saying is, I really feel like there is a role for 2017. We didn't really know what to do, entertainment wise. So we're going to run the gamut. And 2018, I think we're going to see a lot of a real focus in movie and TV. We're going to see a little more meaningful shit, for lack of a better phrase.
I still think there's. I think there's always both. I mean,
when you Google pop culture,
Get Out kicked off January 2017, which was a huge shift in. I mean, one of the biggest movies of the year.
Absolutely. All I'm saying is, I think we've had a year to digest kind of the new world that we're living in, and what are we going to do with it? And I think that's really, after we got that one first hard year under our belts, I really expect things to blossom this year. Even when you're talking about this quote unquote blockbusters.
I mean, it's going to take. I mean, I think
Black
that'll ship for a while.
Panther setting the
amazing.
pre-ticket sales in a month. I mean, I think that we're seeing the social movement with Me Too, and the Aziz Ansari story that came up, which was an interesting
crazy
add-on. And I saw a great tweet that kind of summed that up. The women that are tweeting, oh, so the thing with Aziz Ansari, every woman's been on that date. They're so close to getting it. They're so close. And the conversation that we're having...
Wait, what?
Well,
let's not get into that.
Well, you guys had a whole episode without me, and you said we could revisit it, right?
We can. I mean...
All I'm saying is that the social and political climate, the one good thing is, after that year... we really are having a lot of different conversations that span politics, that span personal relationships, and I have a feeling that this year is going to be really big for movies and TV and for popular arts and music because of that.
I agree with you on that fact. I think I probably disagree with you on some of the other.
I think it's going to take a while. I think that things that are. I think the things that are happening that are going to happen.
What, the Aziz Ansari thing? What
no.
Well,
specifically, that's one specific thing, but yeah.
What don't you disagree with? I didn't really even take a stance or anything. What don't you?
You did. It's fine. It's fine.
What do you? I want to know what you disagree about. I'm confused.
I'm not.
No. So here's the thing. Like,
let's talk it out.
No, you're being super pessimistic right now.
Yes,
but you're optimistic about this year as far as art's concerned.
Yes,
and you could because strife creates art. I agree with all of that.
Yes,
I agree with all of that. So we're good.
But it's going to take a little longer than it's not going to just happen immediately. It's not like movies just pop up all of a sudden.
Right.
I think we had to have a real awkward, tense year. And there's a lot of uncomfortableness.
I don't think all of the parameters I agree with you on. I don't think we have the exact same view on a lot of things, but I agree with you on all of that. It's a shitty year. It's going to create good art.
Yeah. 2017 is a shitty year.
But but you look at, but even if you look at like some of the things that were big movies, right? I think were already happening last year, even though it was a shitty year. Like I said, Get Out is one side of it.
Biggest years.
Wonder Woman is another,
and its acclaim was a comedy. So we're still working shit out. Clearly,
no, it's a documentary.
It's claimed as a comedy for an awards festival. Isn't that
telling though?
That's a studio.
No, because they think they can win better in the comedy than they can in the drama, and that's a business move.
That's telling also.
It's the same as someone downplaying a best actor for a supporting actor because they think they have a better chance on it. That's a totally different argument. I think there are movies like Get Out and there are movies like Wonder Woman that did actually represent some of those shifts in cinema so let's go back like 5 years ago and say, hey, do you think what's going to be a bigger movie in 2017, Wonder Woman or Justice League? And everyone's going to go, well, fuck, of course it's Justice League, because you've got all these other things. Who's going to go watch a Wonder Woman movie? Which wound up being a much better made.
Not only better made, but a more lucrative movie.
And a much more profitable movie, too. So there were changes happening.
One of the three biggest grossing female-led films of the year.
One of the biggest grossing films of the year, just period, outside of even
the top three were female-led. I'm just saying I think that, we spent a whole awkward year having these sometimes tense, sometimes uncomfortable conversations about who we are, and just to bring it all home, whether Get Out is nominated as a comedy or not, it was really important.
Yeah.
And I think that this year, that was on the precipice of the new America. Now that we've had a whole year under our belt, I'm really excited to see.
But then again, I don't think that Get Out. Get Out's important because it's made by a talented black filmmaker and it involves. But ultimately, Get Out shouldn't be like the precipice of any sort of real argument in the real world. We're talking about art here. We're talking about
Get Out. So Get Out, I don't think that Get Out is received the same.
Get Out would have been just as successful in 2012 as it was now. You know,
I don't know about that.
I do believe it would.
I don't think my parents would have watched it in 2012, and they were all about it.
That may be true. It may not have been
It was very good timing.
As big as the movie was, I think it's following things like Ferguson. It's following these really racially charged moments in our time. That in 2012, no one was really having that conversation.
I think it would have been just as well received.
I'll put it this way: that movie would never have gotten made in 2012. That's the other way I would look at it. That movie doesn't get greenlit in 2012.
There wasn't Key and Peele.
No, but let's say it's Tyler Perry or the Wayans brothers or somebody else.
Oh, we're gonna let the guy, the supporting character from Mad TV, direct the movie. Yeah, right.
But I mean, it's hell, that even happened now is actually sort of a miracle in itself.
Talented filmmaker. He hadn't made any films. Look, we didn't know if he was talented yet.
I have a less. I agree with the out of the strife comes better things. I have a much less pessimistic, I think, in general. I try to, just because I think it's important to focus on the things that we've succeeded at, or the things that have done well for us, which I mean, Wonder Woman was on my list as far as
on my list too.
There was something that made me, it was such a nice, and this, like, I fought with my mother about this when I was in Texas over break, was that I went to that movie and there's these little girls dressed up in Wonder Woman costumes, and they're coming out of this movie and they're cheering in the movie, and there's these girls that have like tears in their eyes because they really haven't had a huge superhero heroine like that. They've had Katniss. They've had a few of these that come from the young adult world, but they haven't had something on the par with like an Iron Man or a Superman or a Batman or a Spider-Man that all of us we've been lucky. I mean, how many fucking superheroes can we choose from that we can emulate?
And here's the thing about Wonder Woman is that Wonder Woman suffers from the same thing from a comic standpoint, or has at least historically suffered from the same thing from a comic standpoint as Superman has, where it's just like they're a boring character because all they do is stand for good. They have no conflict. Internal conflict, and the movie was very, very eloquently phrased from a structural standpoint, where I think just the naivete of that character being introduced to the real world was a great counterbalance, and it I think that has a great kind of like significant cultural relevance today of just being oh, you can be a good person, but how do I exist within this world and play the game?
It wouldn't have made any money in 2012.
Well, no, and it's how the Chris Pine character is treated as well, which is important in that the way he treats her in that movie is never. It's never as pandering as it probably would have been if it was 2012 or 2005, or it was being written in a different time. Where that I can see that dynamic between the two being very different. Versus in this one, it's
because it would have been directed by a dude.
That's that.
You have to understand what I said when I made that comment was that if this movie by that person was made and released in that time, it would be well reviewed and would be well received. It may not have made as much money.
It wouldn't be as and I think
or
that's
culturally significant. So I agree with that.
And you talked about
that's
TV.
That's the angle. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about significance.
In TV and like, so I mean, you and kind of like,
and Wonder Woman was more significant, but it wasn't as good as Spider-Man: Homecoming. I think we can all agree on that.
I don't agree with that.
I know. I do believe that. I love Wonder Woman, but I don't think it was. I think it's overrated.
I will tell you the biggest feather I can put in Spider-Man's cap is that after I saw Wonder Woman, I told you guys it sort of broke me a little bit on the superhero mold, and I was like, I did not go into Spider-Man thinking that I was going to enjoy it. I kind of went into it and be like, I'm kind of over. I think I'm finally over kind of all of this on this side of things. And they did so well that it won me back.
I've been waiting so long for a good Spider-Man movie, and it was... I think the more...
Tom Holland kills it. I mean, he's fucking amazing.
And the supporting cast, the kids are amazing. And what gets lost in the shuffle, it is still a young white man and white male lead for the villain.
With a young, hot white aunt.
But it does have...
Played by Marissa Tomei.
It does have really good...
Marissa Tomei is
representation as well. All right. I love Spider-Man: Homecoming. I think that I like it better than the first Guardian. I think it's my favorite Marvel movie. All biases.
It's a great
taken
fucking
into
flick.
account. The more I search my heart, I try to take out my Spidey fandom, and I still think that it's my favorite.
You can't do that.
I can't.
You can't do that.
I still think it's my favorite.
Well, you talked about TV, and I put,
and I needed that. I needed that movie to be
true.
good. If that movie was bad in 2017, I don't think I could
see
take
what came
it.
out. You had a good Spider-Man movie.
I had
in
a
2017.
real good Spider-Man movie coming out. And so what about musically, Ben? I thought it was a
good year for music.
Decent year for music.
Yeah.
I think Mass Seduction by St. Vincent was my favorite album of the year. Drunk by Thundercat was an amazing kind of yacht rock album, which is very mellow and fun. Jeff Rosenstock is back with Post.
But Post came out after the new year. And
it did?
As did the Typhoon album, and both of which are just like on constant repeat in my head and on my turntable.
But Black Mirror was 2018 too, wasn't it? The new season.
Black Mirror was end of.
Did it make it? Did it?
I think Black Mirror was made 2017. I'm
that was a
pretty sure.
real good season of Black Mirror.
Anyways, I really do. There are some music. I do like the new Prawn album that came out in 2017.
We call it Shrimp in the U.S.
Jesus. The world is a beautiful place, and I am no longer afraid to die. Their new album is just one of the coolest albums I've ever heard. I love that album. I have it on vinyl now. So
play that Timmy drop.
No. I put something musical on here, even though, as you all know, I don't know new music. So I did put old music that I rediscovered, which was my favorite musical discovery of 2017 was that Nerf Herder has been recording for years and years and years. And I love their new shit as well as their old shit more than I even thought I did back in the day. You introduced me to that.
I introduced you to that.
So number 5 on my list of my favorite musical discovery was a band from 1996.
That sounds about right.
I still remember just us dying laughing watching
Ghostbusters 3.
As we watched the music video for Ghostbusters 3. Just you and me and Ghostbusters 3.
It's never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen.
That got me through February of last year. I was busy in production for Klings for work, and man, that helped me get through.
So when it came to kind of tops of last year, I think so far, and like I said, I've seen less movies from 2017 than I have for any movie I've been alive, and that's including when I think I've been an infant, because I've grown up watching so many movies, and it's just I haven't had enough time.
I think it's the same for me though too, Ben. I think I saw the least amount of movies, got into the least amount of new music, watched the least amount of television.
Oh, see, I watch
Which seems ironic, because in a year where you feel like you're despondent because of certain things, that you would think that's what you were going to escape to.
Well, I spent more time with my friends. That's what I did.
Okay,
but I watched TV. But I tried to make TV event, which I put Twin Peaks on mine.
But there are a few. I think my favorite movie of the year, after some reflection, is Lady Bird. Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird.
Really, you turned the corner back on that one?
Yes, I think I did.
Hey, you haven't seen Three Billboards yet,
but I haven't seen Three Billboards. And so because I was kind of fighting between Shape of Water and Lady Bird.
I told Nick I watched Shape of Water, which I had the exact same feeling you had watching Looper. I almost texted both of you during the first 15 minutes of Shape of Water to say I think I'm watching my favorite movie I've ever seen. Right. And then it didn't like let me down. It just didn't hold that initial punch once it got to the third act.
So here's the thing. To me, and I understand exactly what you're saying, I think that it dipped. And the very end, I thought was absolutely astoundingly good. I mean,
there's a section that doesn't work for me.
There's a part of the movie that doesn't... It's not that it doesn't work for me, but it feels inconsistent.
Consummation scene?
No. Actually, that works pretty well in the movie, but...
it does.
It works so well.
It doesn't work in water. It doesn't work that well. Oh no!
But
okay.
Come on! I thought the whole last portion, which was some people had said something about, I thought that was so beautifully executed. I mean, in thinking back, and I want to see it again. It's so beautifully done and so very, and the fact that I had kind of thought about it, but I didn't really connect the dots, and I was just like, oh Okay, I knew it. 'Cause I knew it was going to play into. I knew it. Like at some point.
It was sort of lost to me a little bit. That it felt kind of Waterworldy, but
don't spoil it. Come on.
First of all, Waterworld doesn't spoil anything.
But anyway,
I haven't seen Waterworld yet.
He fucks
Don't
a fish.
spoil Waterworld,
but,
Max.
but can I give you my biggest surprise of the year?
It was my
which I now actually watch again. My biggest surprise of the year is Kong Skull Island. I
good.
love that movie. I think it's so much fun. And the fact that people decide to hate on it for some fucking weird reason, like a bunch of fanboys decide to hate on it for some weird reason.
Yet they love Godzilla, which is bullshit. It's such a better movie than Godzilla was.
Well, one has Cranston.
Better made movie, and it's fun, and they're having fun with it, and it's well cast, and it's got a bunch of
great
fucking
flick.
Academy Award nominees and Academy Award winners in it. And I was about to say, for a popcorn movie, and that's the thing, is it came down to, like, I really loved Thor.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Spider-Man. I loved. I really, really, really liked Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2. Can't say I loved it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my best popcorn flick of the movie of the year was Kong.
It was a super fun flick. I think you're right. His biggest surprise. I put my biggest surprise was Wonder Woman, but yeah, Kong was a.
Well, see, Wonder Woman had Patty Jenkins at the helm. I had a feeling that it was going to be.
But I was
good.
like, yeah, but I mean, we've been how many times have we let down by DC that I was like, man, we're gonna get fucked.
I'm not sure that Kong would make my top 5 of the year. It would be right outside of it, maybe.
I'd put it in the top 10. Probably.
Wonder Woman is in my top 5.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's in my top 5 of the year, but Kong was the biggest surprise just because I don't think there's anything wrong with that movie from a popcorn standpoint. I think that from the outside looking in, if you're making a period early 1970s Apocalypse Now Kong movie,
mm-hmm.
you can't make it better than that. I mean, come on, it's so well done for what it is.
Well, there's a great, and I mean, of course, I immediately thought of you guys, especially Matt, when Jodie Foster released her interview about how she would never do a blockbuster superhero movie.
Yeah, and then James Gunn,
and then James Gunn had a really thoughtful retort. But here's I think that Gunn's response was perfect.
It was perfect.
Really, again, to kind of bring in the social climate, the popcorn movie has never been more kind of important. The ability to go into a theater and truly escape is going to be self-care for a lot of people in 2018. Doesn't mean there isn't room for really good, more thoughtful indie flicks, but that as long as our popcorn...
But we need good popcorn. We don't need fucking Transformers and
right,
that shit.
As long as our popcorn movies have a little bit of heart, that's the missing link. And Kong absolutely had a artistic vision and definitely had some heart to go along with it.
Well, and they can't
Right.
and that's a movie that's also. I mean, you talk about how many Academy Award winners are cast in it, but do you also remember how many people were in that movie for a second and then it got delayed and they were dropping out, and it was J.K. Simmons was in one of the roles and Michael Keaton was in one of the roles, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to change them out for Samuel L. Jackson and John Goodman. Like they were like, yeah, they were literally they were like,
right.
we're not fucking settling for some stupid shit. We're getting people in here that are going to have fun with this, but also be good. So I want to talk one superlative I had from last year that involves Nick, which is the most fun I had watching watching television last year. Happened very late in the game. But Nick and I watched the Christmas Story live musical
Sweet Christmas
on Fox, and I gotta say it is one of the most just horribly executed things I've ever seen in my life, but is so entertaining to watch, and it was such a huge surprise that because I'm like I just thought it was gonna suck. And I just wouldn't like it because it was just a sucky thing.
It definitely didn't suck. It definitely didn't suck.
It was, well, it was, you can probably liken it to this podcast. It is exceptionally well produced for what they actually get accomplished on it. But it is just it misses so many great marks.
Awkward performances.
But it is 100% now in my must-watch December viewing is to get drunk and watch that.
I have not seen it, obviously. Christmas this next year.
Yes.
Let's all watch it.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to watch it the first time.
When you do your eggnog.
With new eyes.
When you do your eggnog.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Here's the thing.
I saw Bad Santa for the first time at Tallahassee Mall with my mother, my father, and my sister. And I hated it because of the company made it very awkward. It sticks in my mind. Never going to watch that again. Sure enough, it's one of my favorite comedies of all time. Watching that specific production.
Didn't Terry Zwigoff
He
direct
sure did. Oh, yeah.
the first Bad Santa?
Yeah. But he did not direct the Christmas Story musical live on Fox. Which is, back on topic. Matt and I were a couple beers in, and it was one of those, Ben, when you see a movie, it maybe isn't as good as it really is, but the company that you're in and the perfect intoxication level. Yes. It was a perfect storm. I was holding my sides laughing. Oh, I mean, it's a drinking game waiting to happen.
Yeah,
and it was getting late.
Every time that kid makes his O face.
Every time Matthew Broderick creeps. Like,
oh my God, you'd be dead. You would literally be dead if every time that Matthew Broderick did something that could be considered like pedophilic. It would be it.
And that kid, when he hit the high note,
his O-face notes.
His eyes just stared right through your soul, through the television. Matt and I would just lost it laughing, and we thought we watched an hour and a half and go, okay, we'll turn it off. We watched that entire
It's 3 hours.
goddamn thing.
It's 3 fucking hours.
3.5 hours. We watched it. And we went from beginning to end, and it was just
it's something, all right. It's something.
It filled me with the holiday spirit.
Do you have anything else on your list for the year, Ben?
Well, there were. I had that kind of my what the fuck list, which was so.
How did you narrow it down?
Right. Well, I'm talking about just movies in general. So I did watch. This was when I was in Panama City, and I didn't want to leave my hotel room for fear of being shot.
Panama City.
I watched The Great Wall.
Oh no! You went ahead and watched it.
I watched it.
Oh no,
Ben Wilson, you're doing God's work.
God damn it!
What? I mean,
what brought you to this lonely
So please
state?
tell me you were way hammered.
No. I was still.
You wasted
sober.
sobriety on that movie.
Well, so I was just so interested in what the train wreck that I thought.
Oh no.
I'm just so insanely flabbergasted about. Well, first off, the fact that movie cost like $140 million to make, because it looks like it was made for like $13 like a Blockbuster video in 1993.
Jack Black and Mos Def made it.
Yes, it was a Be Kind rewind. They just rewound.
Sweeted.
They put a.
They took the Golden Child and Big Trouble in Little China.
They
and
put
made
footage from Starship
Wall.
Troopers backwards, and then cut it against like Crouching Tiger here.
It's a long movie too, right?
Yeah, it's like 2 hours. I mean, it's not super long, but it was the most. Like I was just like. I can't tell if it's supposed to be a joke. I mean, it's supposed to be a joke, right? But because there are lots of parts where it seemed like they were kind of in on the joke, like,
and then
it just kind of gets super serious. So yeah, that was my what the fuck movie that I saw.
I haven't seen it, but it's my what the fuck moment.
My what the fuck moment is that you watched that movie, but
Yeah.
my actual what the fuck was like I said, I put it on my TV was the Twin Peaks. I don't even know what the hell to call it. It's not a revival. It's not a reboot. It's whatever. And I had to write it down.
Class.
I had to write it down, and this my feeling on it was that it's like. You go out for a comfort food. Like you're going out, you psych yourself up. You're like, I'm going out for comfort food, and then someone's like, "Oh, hey, we've got Japanese blowfish, and it's been especially prepared, and it's like it's going to be this delicacy, and you've never tasted anything like it." And I'm like,
but you have to sign a waiver because it might kill you.
yeah. Well, bad timing on the blowfish, but it's this gourmet thing, and you're like, okay, I was like really looking forward to the comfort food, and then this other thing happened, and I was not at all prepared for it. And that's what Twin Peaks was, in that it is it's 16 episodes of just as Lynch doing Lynch by Lynch. Like it is insane. It's insane that this actually exists, that it aired on a cable network, and that they got away with it. It's amazing, and it's worth. Everyone should watch it. It's going to piss you off. It's going to piss almost everyone off, especially if you like the original Twin Peaks. But it's easily the most unique thing I watched on television. Maybe ever. But definitely for 2017, it was just the most what the fuck, I can't believe this actually exists thing for me. You have anything? Any other ones, Nick? You want to talk about?
Well, I would just like to stress that everyone within the sound of my voice should, if you like cool pop, check out Mass Seduction by St. Vincent. Have you listened to it yet, Ben?
Yes, I've listened to it.
Do you like it?
I told you I already listened to it.
Can you send me
before.
a YouTube link to it to listen to?
A YouTube. All right, Grandpa. I'll send you a YouTube link.
You email me
It is a triumph.
Give me a link where you can download, or actually just send me the physical CD. All I want is
that'd be
just
good.
burn
Can you
me
get
a
a
CD.
CD?
Just burn me a CD.
Burn me a single song CD.
I'll stick it in our media player.
No, actually, just send me a text with the name of it. I'll actually listen to it.
Okay, yeah, it's real good.
The thing that got
it's basically
me through,
her Cara Delevingne breakup album.
Oh, that's the one you were talking
Seriously?
about. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, the third eye blind guy wrote the Breaking Up with Charlize Theron album. This is her answer to it. That's the rumor, at least.
Well, and the one thing that got me, you were talking about what got you through 2017 ultimately, and I will say that probably the biggest thing that got me through 2017 was Ozzy Man and Ozzy Man's videos on YouTube, who is my
oh fuck.
If you've not seen Ozzy Man reviews, and if you watch Game of Thrones, it's a real slam dunk to just sit and watch Ozzy Man recaps and then thoughtful dissertations on each week's episode. But Ozzy Man struck a nerve in me that I will watch pretty much any video that this guy puts out. And what's most amazing is
if he puts out a sex tape, would you watch it?
Hell yeah! If he narrates the sex tape and does it like, oh, that's a fat dinkum right there, I will totally watch that. But I will say the reason why I like it so much is seeing how much time and work he clearly puts into it, and it's something for me that legitimately, when I watched that one episode when he shows how he records his recaps of the episodes, it made me want to make the podcast good. Like it's good. We're good now.
Better.
I want to make it better. Better is a better word.
See,
Matt,
fucking
good.
up already. Matt.
Oh no.
You make me want to be a better podcaster.
Exactly. And that is what he did for me. It made me say that if this guy can
had me at crack kid.
I want to do it. So that was my biggest influence for 2017 was Ozzy Man. I highly recommend you guys check him out if you have not.
Ben, what is your must see recommendation from 2017?
What's the one thing you think other people maybe haven't gotten a hold of that you think they should get a hold of?
Actually, that's actually a really, really good question, because there's one movie that I have seen that I watched when my wife was asleep that I fucking love.
Femalien 2?
Which is getting a little bit of Oscar buzz, just a little bit of Oscar buzz on the outside, and which is Good Time. Have you heard about Good Time?
Can you do whatever you just did with your hands for Good Time?
Good Time.
It was like you riding a motorcycle.
Have you heard about Good Time? It won. It's been nominated for a bunch. It was nominated for like a bunch of Independent Spirit Awards and blah blah blah. Well, anyways, so it was directed by these guys called the Safdie brothers, starring Robert Pattinson and one of the Safdie brothers, one of the directors of the movie. And it's a crime. It's a very dark crime movie.
Yeah.
And it is fucking astonishingly good. It is so bleak, and it was shot. Cool. It was shot on this really. I think they shot them on
iPhone 10.
No, they didn't shoot on iPhone 10, but they shot it on
Tangerine 2
on something essentially that's basically kind of more equivalent to video than what you do with DSLR now. And it's very it's a super interesting movie, and it's very bleak, and but the performances are fucking incredible, and it's really so yeah. The movie that people should watch that they missed this year,
Good Time.
Good Time.
You okay, buddy?
I have a hair in my throat.
You got the black lung?
Every time he talks about Robert Pattinson, this happens to him.
You have a hair in your throat?
Yeah, I have a hair in my throat.
You have a hair in your throat, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
From that Merkin. It's from the Velvet Merkin you drank.
Velvet Merkin. Fucking Merkin.
Nick, if you were to tell someone, is St. Vincent your, or do you have another?
That is absolutely my favorite album of the year, for sure. Absolutely. I that has been on just repeat when I'm driving the car, or I got it on vinyl, pink vinyl. It's always on. It's my favorite of the year.
Podcast.
For sure. Listen,
but ironically, there's been so much great shit that's already come out in 2018. It doesn't really apply. But
in 2018, we'll talk about building on 2017. I'm seeing St. Vincent at the Tabernacle, where you went to the all dog thing.
We are and Nick and my brother and I are going to see They Might Be Giants next weekend.
And then Benjamin and I are seeing Spoon. Are you coming to Spoon?
Spoon.
Maybe.
What are you guys? I gave him the pubic hair.
I got another merkin hair in my mouth.
Wow, what a coincidence! Both you guys are coughing on hairs. Jesus, you guys, what are you doing?
I'm just playing that one up, but no, now that we're recording, we get to record an Oscar podcast this year, which we haven't before.
Yep.
We have a really good podcast.
Oscar Isaac podcast.
We have two podcasts coming up. That's just such the lowest hanging fruit joke of all time. It's
not of all time.
It's
come on,
pretty
of all time.
There.
Of all time,
not all time. Okay,
I'm taking lower fruit than that, brother.
We've got Greg Klein is coming into studio in a few days. We're going to podcast with him. We have a podcast that is a month and a half in the making, where we all watched a movie Cold that we've got coming up for
that's
you.
Coming up directly after that.
We've got that. We've got Super Bowl. We've got Oscars, and then I'm going to come back from China in late March, so I'll have some China stories. China. Yeah, so I will hopefully make it. I'm going to be spending St. Patrick's Day in China, and I found an Irish pub in the city I'm going to.
Oh shit, that's going to be awesome.
Oh, I can't wait for the stories.
That's going to be great.
I looked this place up, and it's literally, and everyone goes, it's the weirdest thing you've ever seen.
Yep.
Everything about it is Irish. It's Irish food, Irish drink, except it's run by Chinese people.
Wow,
awesome!
I'm like, let's do it. I'm there. I'm going to be there. It's the first night I'm going to
fly over just for that.
It's my first night in China. I'm going to go to an Irish bar for St. Patrick's Day, which I cannot wait. So, we're back.
Big year.
It's a big year.
The most famous Irish bar in LA is closing. Tom Bergen's.
Oh no!
So rest in peace, Tom Bergen's.
Rest in peace. R.I.P.
Well, 2017, you bastard.
2018 is going to be a good year. We're going to have lots of good podcasts for you guys.
Everybody, let's watch some good art. Let's watch some good popcorn.
Let's Wang
art.
Chung tonight.
Let's all be excellent to one another.
Yes.
You see some bullshit.
Let's buy some Bill and Ted.
Listen, you see some bullshit, you call it out. You be good to everybody. Make 2018 better than 2017.
Yes, make it your year.
Yes. We're gonna make it we're gonna make the year of the new way. This is the new way.
This is the new way.
And
we're starting it.
And we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.